And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. It's potluck time. This is part of the show where we go around the table and share our favorite stories of the day. Ladies first, Lisa Janovitz, what do you got?
Well, it is a story about the Southwest flight. A college kid was not allowed to board a flight. He was flying from Dallas to Chicago wearing a T-shirt that apparently there's a show on Comedy Central. I found out from my kids called Broad City. But he was wearing a T-shirt that said Broad Effin' City. Actually spelled out, and he first
friendly.
Forget about it.
friendly city. And he first got on the flight. I guess he had a jacket on the first leg of the trip. The plane was diverted to St. Louis. He took his jacket off, attempted to get on, and he was told very politely by an airline official or airline worker, please, can you put your jacket back on, or can you change your shirt? Can you put the shirt inside out? He said no, and this was all on videotape, which has since been removed online. But we have the transcript, and he was pretty agitated, and he said no, he was not allowed to get on the flight. And Southwest says that they do have a contract carriage that forbids lewd, obscene, or patently offensive clothing and behavior. He was allowed to get on another flight, a later flight. He changed his shirt, and he actually spoke very nicely then later on about the airline. My feeling is I think maybe his parents got a hold of him and said, "Are you crazy? Get that shirt off and get on the plane."
I thought the whole way you were going with this that you were going to defend him.
No, because I could understand. Airlines have rules, and some of them we don't agree with, but that's their right. And if we want to get on, then don't fly Southwest if you don't agree with it.
Yeah, exactly, Rick. What if I had my daughter with me and she can't read yet, but what if she could? I don't need her seeing that.
And not only that, I'm
Free
with
speech.
Lisa. When you buy a ticket subject to the rules of the airline when they sell you the ticket. In fact, it says it right on the ticket, and you sign something.
It's true. It says you can't say broad effing street.
It says that
Well,
specifically.
if that kind of a T-shirt is not allowed, nobody put a gun to his head and said, buy a ticket on that airline. So
Right.
if he does, he's got to honor
First
the
and
rules.
foremost, though, that is McLovin. So you know he's going to do something.
It does look like McLovin.
So that's the first thing. But when I was in high school, there was a guy, Mike Roberts. I don't know if he's going to be watching this, but we were in, I can't even remember what class, it might have been typing class, and he comes in with a shirt, and I think I can say this on air. He comes in, sits down, and he takes his jacket off, same way. He was there, he did this on purpose, but it says Van Halen kicks ass. Well, this is in the South back in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, the teacher immediately, she just pointed the door, get out of here. I mean,
Did he argue it?
no, but he did it on purpose. He knew he was going to get trouble. This kid knew when he got on the airplane, he was just being rebellious.
I
Should have been kicked off.
I need context around that T-shirt. Was this early 80s in terms of
Was
David
it
the
David
Rothman?
Rothman?
Right. Or is this Van Hagar?
86.
That's-
Right around 86.
That's Van Hagar.
That's
I
Van
think, isn't
Hagar.
it?
That's a Sammy
Yeah.
Hagar
In
version
which
of Van
case he
Halen.
was right.
I kind of like Sammy
Oh, I
Hagar
love
with
Sammy
Van Halen.
Hagar. Love
yeah.
Sammy Hagar.
Oh, they did Wings,
But we
right?
digress.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
we
some
do.
sort of
We digress.
besides the point.
Anyway, Jonathan, you are our second chef tonight.
Okay, so we have this new controversy with the DEA having evidently a sex party somewhere down south, and the prostitutes were paid for with money from drug lords, basically. This is just another example of whether it be the DEA, the Secret Service down there with their prostitution issue, the Secret Service, not being able to stop people getting into the White House, all the way up. We now have an FBI agent who I actually was in class with that just got arrested in Riverside, California, for stealing money for years and years. I mean, the problem here is that these people are given national security secrets in a lot of cases, but secrets, and they're in charge of information that if they're caught with a prostitute or if they're caught stealing money, they can be bribed, and it just makes our overall national security stance look bad.
Yeah.
It makes our security look bad. But my thing is, and I know we've gone round and round about this, but I don't think there's any question that you can follow this to the very top with President, Vice President, Secretary of State, head of the CIA, not treating classified information correctly, not having good force protection like in the DOD, and I think that there needs to be an adjustment in government from all levels, where people start taking information seriously and they start taking their job more seriously. who would go out and have a sex party
Right.
in South America with prostitutes paid
and
for?
why
I
would
know
they-
some people that would do that. The Secret Service.
Yeah.
And the DEA,
Because it's
apparently.
But at least it wasn't paid for by the cartels.
But why were they
Exactly.
not
They
fired?
can afford it.
Well, I think I saw this on TV. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were saying that it was not against policy to have a sex party. It's against policy to have a sex party
With the
money
cartels.
paid for by the
Oh.
cartels.
And allegedly, some of the cartel guys were there at the parties
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Well, it's,
okay.
you know, no.
Either way, it's a party that all four of us are probably not going to get invited to. at
with them.
some
And if we
point.
are, I'm not going.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so anyway, we have to take a quick break. But don't worry, when we come back, we'll have even more provocative potluck for you, including my own. This is the Daily Wrap, and it's only on Newsmax TV. And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. I'm your host, Joe Conchon. If you're just joining us, we're in the middle of our potluck where we share our favorite stories of the day, and it's my turn. Well, you may have heard earlier this week that the Charlottesville Police Department now says that the whole Rolling Stones story about a gang rape at a UVA fraternity, they don't have enough evidence to move forward with any kind of investigation. In other words, probably bogus. There are more holes in this than Swiss cheese. Washington Post dug into it pretty well, and even the chief witness in the entire incident, her name is Jackie, or at least that's what they call her in the article, she won't even speak to police now as well. So from a media perspective, let's look at how Rolling Stone is handling this for a moment, shall we? If you all go online right now and you were to Google this story, just put in Rolling Stone gang rape into your search engine, all right, on your phone, okay? You will find that this story is still up on rollingstone.com. In other words, you could still read all about it, even though it's now been proven to be a complete hoax. And don't listen to me. The Poynter Institute calls it the worst piece of journalism of 2014. Columbia Journalism Review, same thing. Yet Rolling Stone won't take the story down because they outsourced an investigation to the aforementioned Columbia School of Journalism, who will come back with their findings, we're told, in a week or two. So this is not how you handle things in terms of media. It's one thing if you say we made a mistake, which Rolling Stone still hasn't admitted to because of their outsourced story. It's another thing altogether to keep the story up. It has a disclaimer in the front saying, you know, we may have gotten some things wrong, but they haven't updated it in terms of the police findings or anything
Like
like
the main
that.
part of the story.
Yes, exactly. And here's the best part. Jan Wenner, who is the publisher of Rolling Stone and has been since its inception back in way back when, I think it's 45 years now, he says when they get the findings from Columbia, they're going to do a full story on it. Not in Rolling Stone magazine, just in the online edition.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
Really?
that's exactly right. So, you know, I'm a media guy first, and I just see this unfold, and it just horrifies me. And Rick, I'd love to get your thoughts as well as a fellow journalist.
It's very, very, very surprising. Given everything that surrounded this and the questions raised, you would have thought they would have taken it down immediately. I just
Yes.
did it, by the way. I just picked up my phone and went, and there it is.
Yes.
It's
And I can't
really
believe
surprising.
that they can't take that down. Of
course they can.
Right.
Sure they can.
That's
Sure they can.
that's their decision, and also to make a statement, make a public statement. But that would be admitting that they're wrong.
Exactly.
I'd love to get your take on this because, you know, we've been on several shows with each other, and you're always the media guy. You're the media go-to guy. I've always had a problem that media is not held to a higher legal standard. If you're going to report something, you better make sure you're fact. Just like if I went to court as an FBI agent and I brought information in front of the court that was a hearsay, and I injure somebody, I'm going to be, I mean, I know you could be held liable, but the court system should hold media to a higher legal standard. I just think that we're to this day and age now where the information is readily available and it can injure people.
Exactly right. But the good news, to answer your question, is that fraternity nationally will be suing Rolling Stone.
Right.
And according to Rick, and we had Heather Hansen on a couple days ago, they'll probably win.
It should be criminally held higher. Like if you go out and you injure somebody, the court, it should be very easy
Well,
for you.
probably-
Jan Wenner in prison? Ooh,
Yeah,
that would
and
be
the
a
problem
pleasure
is it has to be
watch.
intentional to be criminal, and it usually isn't. It's just sloppy.
Yeah, sloppy. And
Yeah,
this,
but as a federal agent, sloppy gets me put in jail.
No, well, but in most crimes
Right.
it doesn't.
In this
Right.
case, it was
has
a
to
matter
be-
of a writer who loved a narrative and just
Yeah,
ran with
yeah.
one side of the
Right,
story and
right.
not another. Rick, I've eaten into your time too much.
That's right. Basically, most Americans, as we know, are not very happy with the notion of welfare, subsidies, government paying people. And we all complain about that. Well, I want to introduce you to a new kind of welfare recipient. We call them welfare ranchers. Now, do you know what a welfare rancher is? It's somebody who owns acres upon acres upon acres, thousands of acres of land. They have livestock, they have cattle, and they enter into these agreements with the federal government, leases. And these leases entitle them to graze their livestock on federal lands. They get this at an extremely low price, but that's not all that they get. It turns out that the government ends up doing a lot of the jobs they would have to do themselves if they were grazing on their land, like getting rid of the wild horses, like replanting grass after they've been grazed out. It amounts to over $1 billion a year of taxpayer money. So who are some of these welfare queens and kings? Name Charles and David Koch, ring a bell? How about Ted Turner? How about cellular giant Bruce McCaw? How about W. Barron Hilton? And my favorite, anybody remember Cliven Davis, the hero, quote unquote, who fought off the government
The
to
Bundy
protect his
Ranch.
right to steal our money, the Bundy Ranch? If you want to come down on welfare, folks, come down on everybody who's getting welfare.
Wow. Well, Rick, you get the last word in your own
Always
potluck
love that.
because we shortchanged you on that one. But we'll be back in a few minutes with the best part of the show, in my opinion. It's Yay or Nay. This is the Daily Wrap, and it's only on Newsmax TV.